Thanks for joining Optimum Solutions as we share with you the reality of bringing payroll processing in-house versus outsourcing. We're going to take a look at the top 4 concerns when an employer compares in-house processing to outsourcing payroll, including processing costs, payroll staff, IT staff, and security concerns. We'll also look at which party is responsible for payroll processing steps in both situations. How flexible can the employer be if payroll is not processed in-house? How convenient is abiding by someone else's calendar or time zone, addressing emergencies, etc.? And some additional considerations, as well as actual customer comments from folks who have experienced both outsourcing and in-house processing. Naturally, cost is at the top of the consideration list when you look at replacing a payroll system. Ideally, your initial outlay should be recouped within 1 to 2 years. While an outsourced payroll might incur additional charges for requested corrections or reports, an in-house system would include the ability for users to make their own corrections and would include standard reports to fill almost any need. Employers often think they'll be able to reduce payroll staff if they opt for outsourcing over in-house processing, but would this be the reality? Payroll staff will still be required to review and edit time cards and enter time in some cases, as well as transmit the time to the processor. Will you not still need the staff who process your new hires and edit your employees' time cards, who verify your tax deposits, who answer payroll questions and service your internal customers? Also, employers often think they will be able to reduce IT staff if they go with outsourcing over in-house processing. But would this be the reality? Will you really have fewer PCs and applications on your network? Do you have IT staff who are solely dedicated to payroll that you could dismiss if you were to outsource payroll? The reality is that both in-house and outsource will require some installation and maintenance of internet and/or intranet connectivity and servers. Security is extremely important in today's cyber criminal climate. In-house processing affords the employer direct control over hardware and software security. Outsourcing would depend on sending personal and private information over the internet, and often security would be out of the hands of the employer. For in-house processing, responsibility for all tasks lies within the payroll department, but determining which party is responsible for which process step is critical when an employer is choosing outsourcing. The employer cannot always set the timeline and must abide by the deadlines for transmitting time cards to the processor. Likewise, they must review and correct reports immediately after calculations are run and before the processor proceeds. The employer is always responsible for tax deposit information, even if the outsource agency actually calculates and makes the deposit. Flexibility is something that is often forgotten. Another important consideration is how your bank accounts will be handled. Processing in-house often means that payroll can be funded on payday, allowing your money to rest in interest-bearing accounts longer. This allows the employer real-time processing and reporting while they review and correct payroll and tax reports prior to finalizing. Outsourcing services will draft your bank accounts in order to fund payrolls and make tax deposits much sooner, causing you to lose days of interest you might otherwise earn. And then there's also the flexibility of customization. An in-house system offers the option of little adjustments here and there without a lot of fuss. Processing in-house means you can conveniently set your own schedule when it comes to holidays, vacations, company functions like meetings or shutdowns, bad weather, or any other issue. Also, time zone differences are never a problem if you are controlling your own process. You won't have to depend on an outside vendor's schedule and plan around system maintenance or interruptions. If you do run into any sort of crisis, it may be more easily addressed with an in-house system where you control the flexibility to quickly fix problems. An in-house system should also have support or customer service that will be able to help you in emergencies. We hope you've gained a new perspective on some of the realities of in-house payroll processing versus outsourcing. We'd like to leave you with some customer comments from payroll users who have lived in both worlds and have found the reality of in-house payroll to be the one that they prefer.